Welcome to Halacha in a Year, where we can get to learn all the most relevant halacha through the prism of the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. You are listening to Rabbi Ya'akov Trump. This year is kindly sponsored by the Moshe Group and CA in zechus of Rivka Biela, bas נחמה שיפרה, and in honor of Rabbi Trump.
Today we're going to learn the halachas of the Maftir and Haftorah to be found on Shabbos and Yom Tov. We're going to look at three basic concepts: the protocol of Maftir and Haftorah, the behavior during the Haftorah, and which Haftorah to be said. Just a little bit of background. There is a little bit of a debate as to when the Haftorah emerged, but the generally accepted consensus today is that during the reign of the Seleucid Greeks, this is during the times of that's going to lead to Hashmonaim. One of the enactments was to ban public Torah readings, and as a response, what the sages of the time instituted was, although the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, was prohibited, they started reading from Nevi'im, from the prophets, and they read 7 aliyahs like they read in the Torah as a replica to commemorate this. The Greeks weren't so concerned about the prophets, they were only concerned about the Torah itself. And when that decree was later on lifted, or perhaps when the Greeks were pushed out, although the Torah reading returned, the vestigial remainder of that was reading a section in Navi, in the prophets, which commemorated or related to that week's parsha in some way or fashion. Now, a person gets maftir is usually getting the repetition of the last few psukim of the parsha. That person then reads the Haftorah, which is a section of the Nevi'im, not the Ksuvim, not the scriptures, with a bracha before and a few brachas afterwards as well. Let's jump straight into our first concept: protocol of Maftir and Haftorah. What is the order of calling up for Maftir? So once the 7th aliyah is finished, or let's say on a Yom Tov or Yom Kippur, 5th or 6th aliyah is finished, the Torah is closed, Chatzi Kaddish, half a Kaddish is said, and the the person who gets the aliyah for Maftir, is called up. After the brachas of aliyah, the Torah is raised, that's called Hagba and Glila in the Ashkenazic tradition, and then the Torah is read with its brachas. What if the Maftir is different from a different sefer? Meaning to say, let's say it is Shabbos Rosh Chodesh, we read the Maftir from a different Torah scroll. So then the way it works is like this. Let's say Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and it's around about Shabbos Vayikra. When one finishes reading the parasha of Vayikra, then one would put the second Sefer Torah, the Rosh Chodesh Torah, on the bima next to the first Torah, which one finished the parasha of Vayikra on, and one would say Chatzi Kaddish with the two of them on the bima as well. When does the one person getting the aliyah start the brachas of the Torah? One can only do that once the Torah is lifted and completely covered as well. What is the bracha before the Haftorah? So the bracha is Barachat Hashem Lekena Min HaCholam B'Nei You Hashem Master the universe Asher Bachar B'Nevim Tovim, who chose good prophets and wanted their words which were said in truth. Barachat Hashem, blessed are you Hashem Abacher B'Torah V'Moshe Avdo. You blessed you God who chose the Torah and the Moshe his servant, Yisrael and Israel his nation, V'Nivi'ei HaEmes Tzedek, and in the prophets who spoke truth and justice. Is this one or two brachas? Although there seems to be a bracha in the middle there, it's really only one bracha and cannot be interrupted in the middle, and certainly there's no amen in the middle as well. What are the brachas afterwards? So if one looks at a regular siddur, there really are 3 brachas that immediately follow the Haftorah. The first one seems to be an extension of the first one, which ends with the Barachat Hashem Sameach Tzim B'Vanel. And the next one is Barachat Hashem Again David, and the last one is Barachat Hashem Kadesh Shabbos. It's worth knowing that the first of those last brachas seems to be broken up into 3 paragraphs, but it's really one bracha, so one should not break between them, and people should not honor Amen as well. One of the brachas on Yom Tov. So on Yom Tov, the last bracha is supplemented, instead of being Mekadesh Shabbos, Hashem who sanctifies the Sabbath, it talks about Yom Tov and it ends off with Mekadesh Yisrael V'Azmanim, Hashem who sanctifies Israel and the special times. What about on Shabbos Chol HaMoed? So on Pesach, or Shabbos Chol HaMoed Pesach, we treat it like a regular Shabbos, and we just say Mekadesh Shabbos. On Shabbos Chol HaMoed Sukkos, we treat it like a Yom Tov with a special Shabbos inserts, Mekadesh Shabbos Yisrael V'Azmanim. Why the difference? So the reason is because Sukkos has full halal and it has unique korbanos every day. It indicates that it's more of a Yom Tov by itself, and therefore it is treated like a Yom Tov with a Shabbos insert, as opposed to Pesach, where it's seen as more of like a regular Shabbos as well. We move to our second concept, which is behavior during the Haftorah. What is the community's role during the Haftorah? They should read along quietly with the Haftorah as well. May the community speak? The answer is no. And I acknowledge this is one of the more difficult times. I notice that people really struggle with speaking during times they don't feel engaged, during the Chazaras Hashatz, the repetition of the Shemona Esrei, and during the Haftorah. That is really the hotbed of time for speaking. And I think it's because of a lack of understanding, a lack of care, a lack of empathy. And so unfortunately in our generation, if we're not actually involved directly ourselves, then we feel disengaged. return to talking as well. It is usually very insulting for the person who gets the Haftorah, who spent a lot of time either preparing or putting themselves out there, and their friends just talk all the way through it as well. I see this all the time, but nonetheless, one is not allowed to speak during the Haftorah as well. What if someone is saying the Haftorah along with the person who's reading it, but they finish up a little bit later? Can they carry on to finish it up? The answer is no. They should wait once the Haftorah is finished and listen along with the brachas. Can a young boy who's below bar mitzvah learn the Haftorah? The answer is yes. If he can pronounce the words and understand the brachas, he may get the Maftir and get the Haftorah as well. This is less of a common practice today, but this is the Halacha. Is this true for every parsha? Answer is no. He may not read the following Haftarahs. He may not do Zachor, Paro, the 7th day of Pesach, Shavuos, first day, Shabbos Shuvah, and Shabbos Chazon. Why not Shabbos Shuvah and Shabbos Chazon? Those are not like biblical requirements. So the reason is because a rabbi or an important person should be getting these, because the Haftarah is meant to be a time that people are listening, people are learning, and therefore it's appropriate that a very important person be the one to deliver that message as well. This obviously indicates that people should really be listening to the Haftarah, because that's why it was instituted. If the Torah is pasul, can we read the Haftarah? The answer is Haftarah is only instituted after reading of the Torah correctly. So if a mistake is found, there's no other Torah to bring out to fix that mistake. There's no kosher Torah, then the Haftarah may not be read with the brachas. It may be read, but without those brachas. Which Haftarah is our third and last concept for today. If there is a double parsha, which Haftarah is read? So we always read the second Haftarah, the Haftarah of Parsha B, except when it comes to Achrei Mois Kadoshim, when those two are together, we read the Haftarah of Achrei Mois, which is the first Parsha, which is from Amos Perek Tes. Now, when Rosh Chodesh falls out on Shabbos, what is the Haftarah? So with Maftir comes from Parshas Pinchas, and the Haftarah is Hashamayim Kisi, which is the 66th chapter in Sefer Yeshayahu. What if we mistakenly read the regular Haftarahs? If it's before the end of the brachas, one just reads the Hashamayim Kisi right after the regular Haftarah. And if the brachas are already finished, one would read Hashamayim Kisi as a separate Haftarah without the brachas before and afterwards. What happens if Rosh Chodesh is on Sunday? So then it doesn't have a special Maftir, but when we read the Haftarah of what's called Machar Chodesh, tomorrow is the Rosh Chodesh, and that is from Shmuel Aleph Perek Chav, about David and Yonatan in the field and the arrows. What happens if Shabbos is Rosh Chodesh and Sunday is Rosh Chodesh? Which Haftarah? Do you read Shabbos Rosh Chodesh or Shabbos Machar Chodesh? So in that case, you read only Hashamayim Kisi, which is the one of Rosh Chodesh itself. With this, we conclude some of the basic outlines of the halachas of the Maftir and the Haftarah. In the meantime, have a wonderful and meaningful day.